Time Traveler is a Mack extreme spinning coaster that was built at Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri back in 2018. When it was built, it was the first of its kind, and only one other has been built since that time, and that is Ride to Happiness at Plopsaland de Pan over in Belgium. In this video, we're going to give a complete breakdown of the entire layout, a complete review. But before we get fully into this video, we'd like to thank you for coming and joining. If this is the type of content that you like, definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Get down there and subscribe, because we do all sorts of roller coaster content, vlogs, things like that. And I also like to let you guys know about a channel membership page that we have. You get things like exclusive videos, exclusive pictures, shout outs like what you see here on the screen. So definitely something that you should go check out. Now let's get back into this video and talk about Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City.
Now when you enter Silver Dollar City, Time Traveler is pretty close to the front entrance, just on the right hand side. And the entrance is actually right next to Thunderation's entrance, which is the Aero Mine Train of the park. So really, you're just going to go into the queue, and the queue isn't anything special. There's a lot of gears and stuff on the ceiling, a lot of clocks around. There's some cool windows they can look out and see the entire layout of the ride, which is very cool because the whole ride sits in like this valley. So you're above most of the layout and you can overlook all of it, which is very cool.
And that leads to one of the better elements of the ride that we're going to be getting into in a little bit. So when you enter the station, it's a really cool station. They got some turning gears up above, and then whenever they dispatch, you hear some bells tolling and stuff. But the trains themselves are actually really cool. They're really comfortable.
You sit down. Amazing.
Yeah, you sit down and the restraints come down automatically. Plus they have some like dials in the front of each car in front of you, where like the lights change from like different like times and dates. I think it's stuff like that.
Yeah, it's all it looks very nice.
The ride definitely starts off with a bang. Whenever you exit the station, it starts off like very few roller coasters, because there isn't a launch, there isn't a lift hill or anything. It goes straight into a 90-foot, 90-degree drop straight into the valley, into the layout. Now, if you're in the back row, this thing, it gives you like
it gives you incredible airtime. And one thing is, before you go on the drop, the train starts spinning. So if you are in the back row, you can get it, so it starts spinning and you are going backwards down the drop, and you get absolutely whipped over it, and you get some incredible airtime. And even though it's just a 90-foot tall drop, it feels a lot taller for whatever reason. It's just very, very fun, and it is my personal favorite part of the ride.
After the first drop, you go straight into a dive loop. Now, one thing about most of the inversions on this ride is that they're very hang time oriented.
Absolutely.
That's something that Mack coasters like to do, or seem to do, is that they hit their inversions kind of slower, so you get a lot of that hang time. Now, we did find in the back row, you got a lot more hang time than in the front row. So if you are someone like me who doesn't really prefer hang time that much, you might want to sit towards the front or in the front row altogether, and that reduces some of that hang time.
And another thing with these inversions is that since it is a spinning coaster, you are taking these inversions at completely different angles all the time. You might be going forwards, you might be going backwards, you might be going sideways, whichever way, and it really adds to the excitement. So after that dive loop, you're going to go into an S-curve that's pretty low to the ground. So after the S-curve, you're going to go into a turn into your first launch. Now this launch is not a rolling launch or anything. You're actually going to come to a complete stop, and you're going to sit there for a minute before you accelerate to 47 miles an hour. Now, this launch is very much a Mack launch, which means it is not very forceful at all. It's really just to get you up to speed, and it's not really like an element itself. So it's definitely nothing that stands out for sure.
Straight out of that launch, you hit a tall overbank turn, where it almost, like when you're on the ride, it almost feels like an inversion, because you are going and banking so much. And you come straight into a complete vertical loop, which is very unique whenever you're spinning and stuff.
Absolutely.
But once again, like I said before, these are very hang time oriented.
So after the vertical loop, you're going to go into one of the best elements on the ride, and that is this twisted airtime hill that is absolutely amazing, especially in the back row, because it catches you very off guard, because you're just not expecting it at all, and then you get some incredible ejector airtime that's especially good whenever you are going backwards.
Probably the only real airtime moment on the entire ride.
Except for the first drop, yeah.
Yeah.
So after that twisted airtime hill, you're going to go into a 0G roll that really kind of feels like a corkscrew because it takes it pretty fast. So after the twisted airtime hill, you're going to go into a 0G roll that really kind of feels like a corkscrew over the way that you go on it, because since it is spinning trains, like we said, you take some very just, like, all these inversions are just so wacky when you're spinning. So it is just a very weird sensation. It does not feel like any normal corkscrew or anything, because you're kind of like flipping under yourself or whatever. It's a very cool sensation.
And go figure that this is supposed to be like a 0G roll, which is supposed to give you hang time. And that's the one inversion that gives you the least amount of hang time in the entire ride's layout.
So after the inversion, you're going to take another turn into your second launch. Now, this launch does not stop you unlike the first one. This one is just going to keep on going. It is a rolling launch, and this will get you up to 45 miles an hour. And really what this launch is trying to do is just get you enough speed to go back up the hill, because like we said before, this coaster station sits higher than the layout. So you're going to go up into just like this really tall bank turn kind of, and you're going to get a lot of hang time. You're going to come down, make a quick turn to the left, and hop into the brakes. And that is Time Traveler.
Overall, my experience on Time Traveler, I would say, was a little bit of a letdown. Not that I didn't like the ride at all, because I definitely enjoyed it a whole lot, and we rewrote it a bunch of times, so it's definitely something that I enjoyed, and I would definitely like maybe our home park Cedar Point or some park a lot closer to us to get one of these. That would be absolutely amazing. Maybe more on the Ride to Happiness level.
I mean, just any park I would want to get one of these, because they're incredible, and especially, like, even just Time Traveler is a great ride. But if they get something, because Mack can go even crazier with these Mack Extreme Spinners as they did with Ride to Happiness, because Ride to Happiness is just supposed to be a completely different experience than what Time Traveler is.
But I would say overall that any bit of disappointment that I had was just because I felt like this ride was hyped up so much to me. And I felt like it just didn't live up to all that hype.
Right, because it's just not... I wasn't expecting a ton coming in. Like, I was expecting it to be a great ride, but I wasn't expecting it to be, like, a top 5 ride that I've ridden. It's not something like Ride to Happiness. It is not an elite coaster, and I wasn't expecting it to be. It is very borderline family coaster level. I definitely think my expectations were pretty much met with this ride, and I just really want other parks to get these Mack Extreme Spinners, because they are pretty expensive, but they are fantastic coasters, and it's just pretty... I mean, there's not too much to complain about with this ride. It is extremely smooth. It is not jerky at all. It's just a very, very fun ride.
So that concludes our Time Traveler review. Like we said earlier, if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time right here on Beach Cliff Studios. See ya.